Support WrestleTalk!
It's time for WWE Fastlane predictions. I'm Luke Owen, DAD, and I'm joined by the Truth, the Professor, your Jam That Champion, Dan the Truth Layton.
I'm dead good at predictions, I am.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like you're a bit of a Roman Reigns run of form as of late.
Run of form.
Because-
qualify that.
Well, you didn't defend it at Payback. You didn't defend it at WrestleDream. You aren't defending it at Fastlane. In fact, your next title defense won't be until Crown Jewel.
Hold on.
That feels like you. So you won this at SummerSlam and
I
have not defended it since. A proper Roman Reigns run of form.
I only show up for the big guns. I only show up for the ones where the people pay to see it, you know?
You're here for the Big Five
Yeah.
and the Saudi shows.
And I mean, look, am I successful when it happens? I did defend at that one with Tempest, full out gear.
Yes, you did
That
defend
one.
it all out. That is fair.
Full gear, all out. They're two very similar names,
they're not.
and they both happen in full.
Absolutely not.
So, like in my head,
Those words are not alike.
it's vowels and L's. I get
No,
very
it is-
confused.
yeah.
Yes, it is vowels and L's.
Vowels and L's?
Yeah, all.
Is
full,
he in NXT?
He's a up-and-coming star from Germany. Vowels and L's.
Vowels and L's. Anyway, we're going to give our WWE Fastlane predictions. If you want to compete against us in predictions, why not join Wrestle League, the link for which is in the video description down below. I'm having a terrible season thus far, as everyone saw in my WrestleDream video. Although the WrestleDream video that Tempest and I did was kind of like this is I didn't go for those in WrestleDream. I even said that in Wrestle League, rather. I even said that in the video.
Yeah.
But a lot of comments were just like, you had a shocking WrestleDream. The Righteous winning the ROH tag titles. I was like,
Well, anyone could have guessed that.
I was positing the idea that what if they pay off the gimmick with the beatdown, and that's a way to get the ROH titles off them. I was just positing the idea.
Just seeding a thought to let it gestate.
But while we had 14 matches to cover on that show, although I think only 10 had been announced at that point, we've got half of that for this video. There's only 5 matches announced for Fastlane, and let me tell you, I don't mind it, mate.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
This will be a breezy 2.5 hours.
There's something in between the two, I think. Between, like, every match you can possibly imagine. Like, when it's like WrestleDream, it's Tony Khan's dream. It's like, he's like, I dreamed this match, and I dreamed this. He just wakes up and is like, that was a match I dreamt, I'll write it down. Versus Triple H, who's like, yeah, 5. That's work. Right, I'm off to a junior varsity football match.
Exactly. I'm not going to do Gunther and Ciampa.
Yeah.
I'll do that on Raw.
Make lemons out of lemonade. We had an injury, so we couldn't have a title defense.
I'm not going to do Rhea Ripley's match with Nia Jax and Raquel Rodriguez. We'll do that on Raw down the line.
Or Survivor Series.
Or Survivor Series, or Crown Jewel.
Or, big time shows on the way.
There are
Fastlane is very much a show that was plonked in the calendar, and then they went, oh, yeah, all right.
I think it's because it's in October and not in February.
Right.
So they were like, oh, Fastlane, yeah, that's in February. We've got time to work on that card. And they're like, what, October? Sorry, what, October?
Yeah. Well, it's also like, this was the Extreme Rules one last year. This was the sort of show that kind of felt a little like, oh, this could be interesting. And then it just plain wasn't. Maybe they're going for the polar opposite here, where I look at these matches and I'll be honest with you, this feels like a house show.
Little bit.
Like a very well stacked house show. I don't mean to be inflammatory. Like these are major stars and these are major matches. But there's an awful lot of tag matches in place of...
You said there's an awful lot. There's 2 tag matches.
There's 3.
3 tag matches. Oh, yeah, that's more than half, I suppose.
More than half, and a triple threat, and like they're all the big stars all sort of being lumped together so that they're all on the card rather than having singles matches where like it's harder to plot what comes in and comes next. Look, I'm not complaining. I will have fun watching this program.
This will be a breezy 2.5 hours.
There you go.
With a kickoff show I don't have to watch because nothing will happen on
And
it.
a bunch of adverts where I can go and make a cup of tea in the middle.
Yeah, those lovely little peacock adverts where it's just like, Becky Lynch is a wrestler.
Yeah.
And you're like,
versus where we were All In and it was like, oh, that match is finished. Great, a breather where I can go, oh, no, wait, hang on. They're coming out now. They're coming out now. It's like...
making their entrance as the other people are
Yeah.
leaving.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into the card here. We're going to kick things off. A last man standing match for the World Heavyweight Championship. It's Seth freaking Rollins defending the title against Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm going Seth.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was a I'd like to see Seth not have the belt anymore. But it's going to be Seth, isn't it? Because they're doing their absolute darndest to make him be this plucky fighting champion, to make it this belt the workhorse belt that matters. But the reality of the situation is the big belt, Roman's belt, not on the card. The second biggest belt, Gunther's belt, also not on the card. So, they've got to try and make this one feel like something, and Shinsuke winning it isn't that in this moment.
And this won't be the main event
No.
either. We'll get into what I think the main events will be shortly. But what are you saying? Seth again?
Yeah, I'm saying Seth. I think there was a moment where they could have taken it. They could have pulled the trigger and put it on Finn and had the Money in the Bank storyline. They could have done the interesting thing. Instead, they chose to try and make Fetch happen. And Seth Rollins, in this case, is Fetch. Also, where we are, it's October 3rd.
It is October 3rd. What day is it?
It's October 3rd.
Excellent. So up next for the Tag Team Championships, it's the Judgment Day defending against Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso.
Yeah. I don't see anything other than the Judgment Day winning here.
No, me neither.
Yeah, I could see an argument for Cody, and I was thinking about this because I knew we were coming down to do predictions, and I was like, well, let's not be basic. Let's try and think outside the box and go forward and posit a theory, plant a seed.
Not lost in theory.
That maybe Cody and Jey could win it, and it's this idea of CJ can work with people. And then ultimately they feed it to sort of Solo and Jimmy somewhere down the line, and we have Jimmy and Jey in a tag match.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
But opposite each other for the belts kind of thing. I don't know if I find that the most interesting story.
I wonder if because my prediction for this is that the Judgment Day are going to retain.
Yeah.
And they sort of set this up on Raw, which is JD McDonough being like, "Oi, come here to me. We're gonna cause a wedge." Between this group. Not that I think he has to try particularly hard. They don't like Jey.
Yeah, right.
But he's like, let's try for a wedge between them. So Jey it looks like Jey cost Cody the tag titles and stuff. I mean, Cody more or less on Raw was like, I don't know why I'm going for these belts either, but I'm going for them.
Genuinely, both Cody and Jey look baffled to be offered this opportunity.
But I could see Jey accidentally costing Cody the match, and that causes the dissension to build towards either something they're going to do at Crown Jewel, or this could be. Well, we keep saying it's going to be a War Games match, but as someone pointed out in an Ultra Chat that we had on last week's Raw, they haven't sold the Survivor Series with a War Games floor plan.
No. It could just be a traditional Survivor Series elimination
4-on-4.
match. Yeah. I mean, you could also have this be a loss. Jey messes it up again, and then you get your trade, whether it be Sammy, whether it be Cody, whether it be someone else, to further drive that wedge. I don't know. I just don't see Cody and Jey winning this.
I don't either.
So yeah, it's a Judgment Day thing for me.
The Latino World Order, which is going to either, according to Wikipedia, will either be Rey Santos and either Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro.
Wow.
Versus Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits in trios action.
You know full well it's not going to be any of them. It's going to be Dragon Lee.
Well, yeah, that was my theory.
Yeah.
Dragon Lee sort of slots himself into this match.
Poor Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro, I guess.
I find that they are some of the hardest people to write the 3 counts for.
Yeah. Because they're there.
They are there. They are doing things. But I think in last one, it got cut from the episode in the end. I said, where's a T-shirt?
It very much is that. They're just sort of popping up to be part of the gang. 72 grand on my GM. Stack out your roster.
I need you for the next 4 weeks. Yeah. I'm get you on a 5-week contract.
12% popularity. They're not needle movers, but they're there, and they make the LWO look big.
I need a cruiser.
Yeah.
Because I've got a giant with nothing to do.
There you go.
I'm going to go with Bubbles and the Profits.
I think Bubbles and the Profits, and I wonder whether this could be further seeds of dissension, because we can't have factions without dissension. So a bit of
what's you going to do with factions?
Rey and Santos, and maybe if Dragon Lee does come through, you can sort of have Santos be edged out a little bit because there's the mask connection and he's taking his mask off. I don't know. You can play with that a little bit if Dragon Lee is going to be part of it. But yeah, I think this is a Bubbles and the Street Profits thing. And
I think it'd be good for Bubbles and the Street Profits to get a good win on pay-per-view.
Right.
This is what you have factions for, is to do faction warfare. So I think this is a smart little match here, and it'll be a very good match as well because it'll have time to get over. Similarly, for our only women's match on the card, announced thus far, we should say as well, we are recording this on the 3rd of October.
There's an NXT and there's a SmackDown.
So they could add a 6th match to this. I don't know what that match would be, because the US champions in the trios match, we've done the Gunther match. I don't know why you would announce a Raw Women's Championship match on SmackDown, and as you said, we haven't really built to it much yet either.
Well, I mean, I suppose, Rhea's going to be there. Like, she could lay out a challenge.
Rhea's not there on SmackDown. It's just Priest and Finn are there on SmackDown.
Could she not show up as well? Because they're all part of the Judgment Day.
I suppose.
Freebird rule.
But they didn't announce her.
Technically, she's the tag team champion as well.
They just said that Priest. I don't think they announced Dom was on the show. They just
Right.
said Priest and Balor were on the show.
Interesting.
Anyway, so as it currently stands, this is our only women's match on the card, and it is Io Sky defending the WWE Women's Championship against Asuka and Charlotte Flair. So a fascinating statistic today.
Oh.
Charlotte Flair is the queen of triple threat matches. This will be her 18th triple threat match for a women's championship.
Wow, well, there was obviously the original in WrestleMania 32, which is quite iconic.
Dating back to her NXT days as well.
Even then? Oh, wow.
She's
She
always
loves it.
been 18 triple threat matches for the women's championship because she doesn't have to get pinned that way.
There you
She
go.
could be in a title match and doesn't have to be pinned.
Yeah.
I feel like Asuka is eating a pin here. And okay, so I think Asuka is eating the pin. It's just whether or not Io is retaining or Flair is winning.
So the problem is, Flair winning is a bad idea. I think Io will win. I think Io will win to continue this, the reign, and have it mean something because, we have seen considerably fewer choppy changes. In fact, Asuka's was the shortest reign that we've seen in a while.
It was.
Yeah. Transitional champ. But you can never count out Charlotte sneaking another one to add in.
Yeah.
What number is she on now?
I'll
click her name and find out.
click her name and find out. Because here's my prediction. I'm going to go for this one. I'm going to go with Charlotte Flair to win this match.
So she's a 14-time world champion.
So this will take her to 15.
And Nature was what, 6?
16.
16, yeah?
Yeah, no, just 6.
Just 6. He only had the 6.
Quite famously, just 6.
6-time world champion.
I'm going with Charlotte Flair to win. And here is my big brain rationale on this. And perhaps she doesn't win it here, but she wins it down the line. The WrestleMania match is Flair versus Bianca.
And look, I want to see it.
And I think in WWE's mind, that is a bigger match than Io Sky versus Bianca Belair or versus Charlotte Flair or whatever, or versus Asuka. Flair versus Belair is the WrestleMania match.
I agree. I think
so. You put the belt on Flair now, or you do it at Crown Jewel or Survivor Series, and then Flair holds that and then loses it to Bianca at WrestleMania in what I think will be a tremendous match.
Yeah. I think the question is, what does Charlotte do until then? I think I wonder.
Everyone.
Well, yeah, but like
Make her look strong. Give
does
Bianca some wins. Maybe Bianca wins the Rumble.
yeah, no, I think that I was gonna say Charlotte wins the belt and Bianca wins the Rumble. She comes in as a surprise entrant. It's her big return sort of thing. That scans completely. I completely agree. That's what they would probably envision as a major marquee WrestleMania match. That's certainly main event worthy name-wise, and in terms of like we saw Bianca at the TKO launch, like she has mainstream crossover appeal, all of that stuff. They love it.
We talked about this when she signed, but that's one of I think the big attraction points of Jade, bringing Jade Cargill in, is you send her out to media appearances.
Yeah.
Like she's walking down red carpets,
Yeah.
people are going to notice someone like a Jade Cargill. So I think that's like one of the big plus points to her. I'll come on to Jade in a second, but you finish your point.
Yeah, just that I think you're completely right. I just don't think it's this division and this belt in particular has been booked so poorly that probably put it on Charlotte and I don't care. Do you know what I mean? I'm struggling to find. I think Io will retain. Just to put out a prediction in the ether. Doesn't matter. This ain't on the line.
But the Wrestle League points, Dan.
Yeah, I'm not technically officially part of the Wrestle League staff
not?
picks. I don't know. I'm just not on the list.
Well, ask Andy then. Like he's the one who makes the email.
No, I think he's bitter and jealous of. Well, I want to say Man United's dominance, but we aren't dominating anything because we beat Newcastle for the cup with 3 trophies and three handles on a trophy.
Yeah, but Andy doesn't support any team.
He just supports whichever one.
Whichever way the wind is blowing is like it's like, oh, is it Newcastle this week or is it Liverpool this week?
It's which hour, honestly. Yeah. But no, so I think Io will win. I think Charlotte will take it off her, but I think that's maybe a crown jewel or
just in a straight singles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
do you know what I mean? I'm frustrated because it's hard to feel like it matters.
Yeah, I feel like the only reason I'm heading down the Charlotte route now is because you're doing it as a triple threat. And often I feel in triple threat is like, okay, it's because you want to protect someone.
Right.
So are you protecting Io in losing the belt so quickly, or are you protecting Charlotte in not winning the belt now?
I think it's the latter. I think it's Io and Asuka, end of, and Asuka can go away for a while and
Come back in the Rumble.
not get her flowers once again, and then in the meantime, Io and Charlotte and Bayley will continue their little sort of triumvirate feud. Then you feud 2 Royal Rumble. Let's say your Royal Rumble main event match is Charlotte versus Bayley.
Here's my my big bold predictions. So I've said it's Flair and Belair for the women's, and it's Rhea and Cargill for the heavyweight championship at WrestleMania.
So soon?
I think they're going to be... Well, the money that they're spending...
Yeah.
So, Tony Khan said in the press conference that Jade came with an offer, and he met that offer.
Yeah.
She then came back with a bigger offer, so he met that offer. So she came back with a bigger offer, and that was at the point he was like, A, she wants to go. B, I'm not going to make that money back. There's no return on investment for me here. That means that she took those offers, went to WWE and said, well, this is what they're offering me. And they upped it. This is what they're offering me. They've upped it. This is what they're offering me. They've upped it for a third time.
Smart business.
That's smart business. And that's exactly what all wrestlers should be doing when your contract is up. But it means that they're spending a lot of money. And I think actually you can look at the rollout. We were talking about this on last week's Raw podcast. The rollout they've done for her.
Yeah.
They're spending a lot of money on Jade Cargill, giving her a lot of TV presence even before she's here. Rumble debut. Whether she wins the Rumble, but she is the WrestleMania match.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see it happening so soon.
There was a article, the USA Today, I think, had an article about Jade Cargill. That's about her and Brian Pillman, and they were talking about poaching talent from the competition. And it was like we are taking young talent from the competition. Yeah. Particularly because AEW just signed Edge, who is
50
old talent. Yeah. So they are taking young talent from the competition. If you're doing all of this, you are going hard on them. I think they're going to go hard on Brian Pillman Jr. as well.
I agree.
But just down in NXT because he has not got he is not being given the same.
He's not Jade Cargill.
Well, they're not spending the same money.
Yeah.
On Jade Cargill, on Brian Pillman that they spent on Jade Cargill.
I'm just trying to work it out to get to how you get there. I mean, it's embarrassment of riches, I suppose, to have a load of marquee talent on your roster. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad shout that Jade would be against Rhea. Yeah.
And our last match to discuss, which
is that it?
Well, there'll be one. Yeah, this is our last match, and it will be for the. There'll probably be the main event of the show.
Yeah.
As the Bloodline, which Jimmy's back in. Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa taking on the super ooper duper mega team of John Cena and LA Knight. Yeah, this is where I feel like you got the bigger house show vibes for it.
Just the poster for Fastlane is just a picture of John Cena.
Just
again.
John.
And I was just
He's
like...
the marquee.
Yeah, well, of course he is, but it's like, what year are we in? That's fascinating to me. Yeah, this is your marquee moment. This is... How do you think this is going to go? Because I can't decide.
LA Knight wins.
Yeah, that's what I generally thought.
LA Knight pins Jimmy Uso.
Right.
And you do Cena endorses Knight afterwards. And Jimmy, you continue this... Is Jimmy actually in the Bloodline?
Right.
Is Jimmy welcome in the Bloodline? And you sort of continue to spin that plate until you do another match at Crown Jewel.
Is this the end of Cena's run, or is there a few more weeks left?
It depends on whether or not, because the writers are back on, but the SAG is still on strike. So it depends.
They're back at the table on Wednesday.
Yeah, so it depends on how that goes. Depends on probably how many more things John Cena's doing.
Yeah, because if this is your end, then I think, yes, that's exactly right. But if there's a little bit more left...
I can't remember how many he was announced for. Sorry, you carry on.
I think he was announced for about 8, but I can't remember when. It was mainly around the India show.
Yeah, it was
so I can't remember when it started and when it's going to finish.
It's like all of September he was announced for, and then some of October. So yeah, I think we're either like towards the end or we're at the end.
So my pitch for you here is one of two. Either your suggestion is true and they win, Eleanor gets the pin and John gets the hand in the air, or they lose the match and you build...
Daniel.
I hadn't finished my sentence yet. And you build to Cena versus Knight.
Daniel,
what?
They are not losing this tag match.
What if LA Knight loses it?
I don't think they're losing this tag match.
Well, they might.
Cena ain't losing this match. And
They
like,
might.
and what you want to just do, like Cena? I don't think there's an appetite to see Cena versus Knight. There's more of an appetite to see them tagging together.
That's fair.
I think there's more of an appetite to see Cena tagging with Cody, which I still think is a match they could do, and I think that's a match that could happen at Crown Jewel.
Right.
I think
That's what I'm trying to think of. Crown Jewel.
I think he will do Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
Because I think that, Meltzer wrote in the Observer that like everyone's kind of lined up to do the Saudi show. So I think you will do Cena and Cody as a tag. Probably against the Bloodline again.
But then the thing is, you just have both members of the Bloodline lose, both Jay and Jimmy, in one show.
Yes. Oh, yeah, but like they're not. Roman's the featured performer of the Bloodline.
So this is what I mean by it feeling so confusing.
And I
show.
think you need to have Roman come back and be like, what you guys also like. I've gone for a little while, and Jimmy's back here, and you lost to John Cena. You're an embarrassment to the Bloodline.
Right.
Jimmy and Solo winning this does not help this Bloodline story in any way, unless the story you want to go with, and this is a potential to go with, is Jimmy thinks that he is the head of the table, and you build to a Jimmy versus Roman match.
Right. I don't want that.
And you do Jimmy versus Roman at Crown Jewel.
Yeah, it's tricky to think about what.
And you could do Cena in a singles against Solo, and he defeats the monster.
Do you not think if you had like Cena versus Knight at Crown Jewel and it being this babyface versus babyface, the old guard puts over the young guard in because the Cena's story since returning has been Cena and LA Knight, like the Miz match, then this tag team, and then the trilogy feels like Cena versus Knight. I get that you're like the appetite. It may not necessarily be there for that one. It's just that's what crumbs I'm being given. So that's what I'm going. It feels like that's what the suggestion is.
I sort of balked at the idea that Cena and Knight might lose this match, and that is only because I've got heavy house show vibes to this. And
Look, because you're right. He's a poster.
Let me present to you this Survivor Series 2011. It would have been so much more interesting going into WrestleMania if Cena and Rock had lost that tag match.
Yeah.
Like if they had cost each other the tag match to build to their WrestleMania match. It would have been way more interesting. But The Rock and Cena just won because that's what you do. Because they're the big stars.
Right.
And I think that you're looking at this match like, Cena and Knight win. Because they're the big stars.
Yeah, but that's less fun.
There is a much more interesting direction you could go to after that. But they just win because that's what you do. That's the feeling I get from this match. I would love to be surprised. I will be so excited if I wake up on Sunday morning to watch Fastlane and the Bloodline win. I'll be so much more excited. But going into it, I have zero thought or feeling that is the direction they're going to go in.
And look, you're probably completely right because look at this show. This is so predictable. Like it's a basic card. There's nothing in there that I'm not excited to watch Fastlane. Of course, I'll be enjoying myself when I'm watching it because
it'll be a breezy 2.5 hour show with very good wrestling up and down the card.
And with the exception of last year's October show, I found most of the pay-per-views WWE. It was last year's October show, and there was one recently where I was like, oh, that was kind of mid. What was it? Oh, SummerSlam was like fine.
I am really. Because we're going to do our worst pay-per-views of 2023. Yeah. I have no idea what's going to get nominations.
Because very few have been genuinely bad. Like,
we haven't had a bad show. There hasn't been a bad WWE show this year. There's been some mid WWE pay-per-views. There's been some mid AEW pay-per-views. Yeah. But there's no show has finished being like, woof, that was a Jeepers, yeah.
Which we've had for so long. Like that, it feels natural that you do here are my worst shows and here are my best shows because we have had worst shows. This year, calendar year, October to October, Extreme Rules last year, SummerSlam, that's about it. That I found, and that I found those to be like underwhelming rather than bad. So like, point being, I'm going to enjoy the show when I watch it, probably more likely than not. However, while we're sitting here having predictions, we might as well have a chat about things that could or could not happen and what would and would not be interesting. You are probably right that LA Knight and Cena are going to win. I just think it would be more. I think if I'm sat at the writers' table, it's far more interesting, and I think someone like LA Knight can take the loss to build to a LA Knight. Like, Cena doesn't have to be the one to lose it, so that then LA Knight wins clean over Cena. Yeah. Any heat that he may or may not have lost by losing in shenanigans fashion to the Bloodline is right back when Cena's like, yo, you did it. Kind of like he did with Roman Reigns at No Mercy a few years ago? Yeah, it was No Mercy.
Yeah.
Kind of says, I mean, that then took a couple of years to take fruit for Roman Reigns, but I don't know.
Just to confirm as well, he is advertised for all of the October dates as well.
Right.
16th, 13th, the 20th, and 27th.
And then it's Crown Jewels, I believe, on have they announced it? But it's on the 4th of November.
It's on the 4th of November. They haven't actually announced it.
Right.
They haven't made an official announcement.
They'll probably do it at the weekend.
He is in the WWE.com article, corporate.wwe.com.
Whoa.
In fact, they didn't say that he was going to do the Saudi show. Just said that he was going to do the India show.
Right.
So
that was the one.
There's a chance that he might not do the Saudi show, but I'd expect him.
If you're running through dates all the way to the end of October, you're probably doing the Saudi show.
Yeah, you build to a match for the Saudi show.
Yeah, and it's that one for me. Unless you want to put something Cena and Cody in there as well.
Yeah, I mean Cena versus Cody, just do it like a dream match.
Yeah.
Type situation.
Yeah. So who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
We're trying to figure out.
I'm trying to figure out. Oh, I was about to say I don't care, and that seems unfair.
No, but it is. But what's interesting when you say I don't care is that it's in the past that's meant sort of like ennui or apathy, like whereas now it's just like. Sure.
I'm quite happy to see what he wants to
do.
do.
The show will be fine.
Because him tagging with LA Knight is just like that's a fun thing to do. And then versus the Bloodline, it's like, that's what I would do. That's what I would book. Am I like excited to see the match? No. I think it'll be a very fun match. But it's not like when I come to this card, it's not the match I'm salivating to see.
Or when it leads up to a pay per view and you're rubbing your hands together and like, I can't wait for this. And I think you sort of like a kid at Christmas, you get your sleep in to make sure like.
But I know what happens after that. Like really, it depends on my interest in this will be if they just beat the Bloodline, which I expect them to, or something different and interesting happens, which is that they lose the match. That will be my intrigue going into what Cena does for the rest of October.
Yeah, I think that's far more interesting to me than them winning.
Yeah,
but that doesn't necessarily matter.
But anyway, those are our predictions. Let us know in the comments down below. What are your predictions for WWE Fastlane? Did you even remember this pay-per-view was happening this weekend? I think that'd be the bigger question. Give this video a like and subscribe to the channel as well. We'll be doing a full review of Fastlane this coming Sunday. Myself and Laurie Blake will be in the hot seat to review Fastlane. And I'm looking forward to the show in the sense of it'll be a fun 2.5-hour show. Like, you look at that card, like, well, there won't be a bad match on the show.
No.
Like, I think all of these matches are going to be really, really fun matches.
Will it be consequential?
No.
Will it be entertaining?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
More likely than not.
I'm not even going to say probably. I'm going to say a firm yes, it will be an entertaining show.
There you go.
And
That's all you want.
And I'm looking forward to chatting with you about it this coming Sunday. Until then, I have been Luke Owen, DAD. That has been the Professor, the Truth, Dan Layton. Jam that jam.